Imagine waking up on Wednesday feeling like you finally have a perfect grip on your career. I mean, you are hitting all your goals, everything is smooth, and then out of nowhere, bam,
Right.
you get hit with a massive, completely unexpected bill, and your first thought is probably going to be panic, you know.
Oh, absolutely. Total panic.
But what if I told you that surprise bill is actually, well, it is the exact astrological push you need right now to build long-term wealth?
It sounds crazy, but
Yeah.
it is true.
That is the kind of hidden map we are looking at today. Welcome back to Horoscope TV. We are dedicating this entire show to the zodiac sign of Scorpio. Specifically, we are breaking down the week of April 6th to April 12th, 2026.
A very big week.
Huge week. If you have a lot of Scorpio energy in your chart, you absolutely need to tune in today. This week brings like a wild mix of huge energy shifts, steady chances for you to show off at work, some very unexpected money surprises, and some truly lucky moments in your love life.
Yeah, it really is a massive week.
And we are here to help you navigate every single turn.
We definitely have a lot of ground to cover to make sure you are ready.
Yeah.
My job today is to analyze the astrological charts for this week, to help you make the absolute best choices possible.
Right, because the charts show us the map.
Exactly. We are going to look really closely at the astral charts and explore exactly how these planetary movements interact with your daily life. We are talking about how these shifts show up in your workplace, in your bank account, your physical body, and your romantic relationships, too.
Yeah, wow. Everything, basically.
Literally everything. We will also break down exactly who you should spend your time with this week and who is going to cause you completely unnecessary stress. Because understanding the mechanical push and pull of these planets, it gives you a very real advantage.
It lets you avoid the traps, right?
Exactly. You avoid the traps and you
Oh.
lean right into the sudden opportunities.
Well, I want to start by looking at the big picture of this week, because the way the energy flows from Sunday to Friday is honestly a bit of a roller coaster.
That is a good word for it.
Yeah, I see a lot of fast movement followed by a sudden need to just hit the brakes completely. So when you look at the astro charts for our Scorpio listener as we kick things off, what is the underlying current? How is this going to feel before we even get into the specific events?
Well, the main current is a journey. You go from feeling extremely restless, almost agitated, to getting very serious and focused. And then finally, you end the week feeling a deep sense of joyful connection.
Okay, restless to focused to joyful.
Right? It is a very clear progression. But the starting point is loud. It all begins just before the week officially starts, on Sunday, April 5. The charts show the sun making a strong square angle to Jupiter.
A square angle, that sounds intense.
It is. Now, since we know a square aspect creates friction and tension and Jupiter expands everything it touches, your core energy, which the sun represents, is going to feel stretched to its absolute limit.
Like a rubber band pulling too tight.
Exactly like that. It creates a very strong push to change the things around you. You are going to step into Monday morning feeling like you need to tear down the walls and rebuild everything from scratch.
Okay, wait, let's look closer at that feeling. When you say the sun squaring Jupiter makes you want to tear down the walls, my mind immediately goes to waking up on a Sunday and deciding out of nowhere that every piece of furniture in the house is in the wrong place.
Yes, that exact feeling.
You have this sudden, intense urge to just flip the couch over, drag the heavy bookshelf across the room, repaint the walls. It is a very physical, impatient feeling. But how does that square angle actually work? Why does the tension between the sun and Jupiter make you want to break things to fix them?
It comes down to how those two planetary forces interact when they are at a hard 90-degree angle to each other. So the sun is your sense of self, right? Your ego, your daily identity. And Jupiter is the planet that wants more. More growth, more space, more meaning. When they are lined up smoothly, growth feels natural. But a square means they are standing at a corner, literally pushing against each other.
So they are fighting.
Yeah, they are fighting. Your ego wants to be seen, and Jupiter is yelling that you are not doing enough, that you are not big enough, that your life is too small.
Oh, wow. That is heavy.
It is. So the mechanism here is that the tension makes your current life feel tight. Like you are wearing a shirt that is 2 sizes too small, and you just want to rip the shirt off.
Rip the shirt off. That translates into wanting to rearrange the furniture or quit your job or completely change your hair.
Exactly. You feel massive buildup of energy, but it has nowhere clear to go.
That makes total sense. But honestly, it also sounds exhausting. I mean, if you start your Monday feeling like your life is a shirt that is too small, you are going to be incredibly easily annoyed by small things.
You are. And that is why the next movement in the charts is so important. On Wednesday, April 8th, the moon enters the sign of Capricorn.
Okay, so a shift on Wednesday.
A big shift. We know the moon acts as a filter for your daily moods and reactions. When it moves into an earth sign like Capricorn, the wild, restless energy from the weekend gets forced into a very tight, practical container.
Because Capricorn is all about rules, right?
Right. Capricorn energy asks, what is the actual goal here? What are the rules? So on Wednesday, the need to break things just disappears, and your focus suddenly shifts to your serious goals.
Wow, just like that.
Just like that, you stop worrying about changing the whole world, and you just want to get your daily tasks done perfectly.
So the moon acts like a heavy blanket being thrown over that wildfire from Sunday. It forces you to sit down and actually look at your to-do list.
Exactly. Calms the flames down.
But then, right after we get focused on Wednesday, the charts show Mars shifting into the sign of Aries on Thursday, April 9.
Yes. And that is where it gets really interesting.
Because we all know Mars is the planet of pure drive and action, and Aries is its home sign, which means Mars is operating at maximum power, right?
Absolute maximum power. It is an engine running with no limits.
Right. So you get this fresh blast of power to face your hard problems. But here is where I get tripped up looking at this flow. If you have all this fresh power from Mars running wild on Thursday, how do you make sure you are aiming it at the right problems?
That is the danger zone.
Yeah. How do you avoid taking that overpowered engine and driving it straight into a brick wall because you have, like, too much energy and not enough patience?
This is exactly why analyzing the sequence of the charts matters so much.
Yeah.
You cannot look at Thursday without looking at Wednesday.
Okay.
Mars moving into Aries on the 9th is pure aggressive fire.
Yeah.
If that fire happens right after the Sun and Jupiter made you restless on the 5th, you absolutely would drive into a brick wall.
Right, because you were just blindly angry.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
But because the moon in Capricorn happens on the 8th, right in the middle, it acts as a strategy session. The way you make sure you are fixing the right problems is by using Wednesday to plan.
Oh, I see.
When your mind is serious, practical, and grounded on Wednesday, that is when you decide what actually needs fixing. You write down the exact steps you need to take.
So you make the list.
You make the list. Then, when the fresh power of Mars arrives on Thursday, you do not have to think. You already have the target drawn on the wall. You just aim that fiery Mars energy directly at the steps you wrote down the day before.
I see. So Wednesday is the architect drawing the blueprints, and Thursday is the bulldozer actually doing the heavy lifting.
That is a brilliant way to put it.
If you try to drive the bulldozer without looking at the blueprints first, you are just knocking down random walls.
Yeah.
That is a huge warning for our listener. You have to force yourself to plan on Wednesday, even if it feels boring.
It is crucial. It feels boring, but it saves you. And if you follow that plan, the week wraps up beautifully. On Friday, April 10, we hit the last quarter moon.
Okay, what does the last quarter moon do?
Well, this is the exact phase of the moon cycle where the light is shrinking in the sky. And astrologically, it signals a time to shed weight. It is a moment to let go.
Let go of what, exactly?
Specifically, the charts show this is the perfect window to let go of old, bad habits that are slowing you down. Because you use the Mars energy to push forward on Thursday, you will clearly see what is holding you back by Friday.
Ah, so the path is clear.
Right. And later that same day, the moon moves into Aquarius. Now, Aquarius brings a cool, social, community-focused breeze. After all the heavy lifting and letting go, you're going to feel a sudden, strong desire to just see your friends.
That sounds really nice, actually.
It is. It brings a lot of joy to finish out the week.
You know, because that Friday energy is all about shedding weight and clearing out the old junk, that directly ties into what we are seeing in the career charts.
It really does.
All of this tension and planning and pushing is going to show up loudly at the office. So let's look at how these planetary shifts play out at work, because the career forecast is packed this week, starting with that tricky Sun and Jupiter tension on Sunday.
Oh, it is very active in the workplace. We talked about how the Sun squaring Jupiter makes you feel restless in your daily life. But when you look at how this hits your career chart, it brings huge, massive ideas for your work.
Huge ideas, like taking over the company kind of ideas.
Pretty much. You are going to look at your job and suddenly see 10 different ways you could improve it. You will have a vision for what you can achieve that is way bigger than normal.
That sounds like a good thing.
Well, it feels good. But the mechanism of a square aspect means this vision is slightly distorted. The warning in the astro charts is very clear here. You must not promise more than you can actually do.
Okay, I have to push back here.
Go for it.
If I am feeling that burst of inspiration and my boss asks me if I can take the lead on a new project, why shouldn't I say yes? Isn't having big ideas and showing enthusiasm exactly how you get ahead at work? Why is the chart telling us to hold back?
It is telling you to hold back because Jupiter's influence in a hard angle removes your understanding of time and capacity.
Wait, it removes your understanding of time.
Yes, you are not just seeing a good idea. You are feeling an unearned sense of invincibility. You will look at a project that takes 40 hours and genuinely believe you can do it in 10.
Oh no!
Yeah, if you say yes on Monday while under this influence, you are signing a contract based on a false sense of reality. By Thursday, when the energy shifts, you will be staring at a mountain of work, realizing you completely misjudged your own limits.
Yikes.
The enthusiasm is real, but the math is wrong. You have to wait for the energy to settle and get real.
The enthusiasm is real, but the math is wrong. That is such a perfect way to explain it. It is like being at an amazing buffet, you know. Your eyes are bigger than your stomach, and you might just put way too much on your plate at work.
Exactly. You'll just make yourself sick trying to eat it all.
So we wait for the math to get real, and that reality hits on Wednesday, April 8th, when the moon enters Capricorn. You mentioned earlier that Wednesday is the day for planning. How does that show up specifically at the office?
When the moon is in Capricorn in your work chart, the focus narrows down. All those massive 10-year visions from Monday shrink down to the very next step on the ladder.
Right in front of you.
Right. It becomes the absolute best time for you to sit at your desk, close your email, and focus purely on your main work goals. You will feel a very satisfying, quiet click in your brain when you just do the hard work.
Quiet click. That sounds peaceful.
It is very grounding. But something else happens on Wednesday. The charts show Mars making a strong link to the planet Uranus,
Uranus.
the wild card.
The ultimate wild card. Now, Uranus acts like a lightning bolt. It is the planet of sudden, shocking changes and disruptions. When Mars, the planet of action, connects to this lightning bolt in your career house, it creates a sudden, very exciting new chance for you to show off your skills.
Oh!
Yeah. An opportunity is going to pop up out of thin air.
Wait, if an opportunity pops up out of thin air, how is that different from the false promises we were warned about on Monday? That is the big question.
Right, because Monday brought big ideas that we were supposed to say no to, and now Wednesday brings a sudden opportunity that we are supposed to say yes to. How is our listener supposed to tell the difference in the moment? They both sound like exciting new projects at work.
That is the trick of the week, isn't it? How do you tell the difference between a trap and a launch pad?
Exactly.
You have to look at the feeling behind the event. On Monday, the push comes from inside you. The Sun and Jupiter make you want to volunteer for things just to prove you are bigger than you are. It feels heavy and desperate.
Like you're trying to force it.
Yes, forcing it. But on Wednesday, the Uranus link means the event comes from the outside.
Oh, from the outside.
Right. Someone quits,
Yeah.
and their account needs managing immediately. A client has a sudden emergency that only you know how to fix. It is an external disruption that perfectly matches the skills you already have.
So you do not have to stretch to do it.
Exactly. You just have to step up. It will feel electric, not heavy. It is a chance to show off what you have already mastered, rather than trying to learn something brand new over the weekend.
Ah, that makes perfect sense. Monday is you trying to invent a new job to prove your worth. Wednesday is the universe handing you a microphone because you already know the song, you just have to sing it.
That's exactly it. You already know the song.
That is a massive difference.
Precisely.
Yeah.
And handling that sudden chance well is going to require space on your desk.
Which brings us to the final career shift on Friday, April 10th with the last quarter moon.
The shedding weight phase.
Right. As we discussed, this moon phase demands that you let go of weight. In your career, this is not just a nice idea, it is a requirement. You have to look at all your current projects, find the old ones that have been dragging on forever.
And ones that do not actually serve your main goals anymore.
Yes, those exact ones. And you must throw them away. You hand them off, you cancel them, or you finish them in an hour and send them out. Because if you don't clear the desk on Friday, you won't have room for the sudden opportunity that sparked on Wednesday. The workflow is completely tied together.
It is entirely connected.
You use the Capricorn focus to handle the sudden Uranus disruption, and then you use the last quarter moon to throw away the garbage that is in the way.
Exactly. You're managing your capacity. And, you know, when you step up and handle a sudden disruption at work, and you show off your skills clearly, it almost always creates a ripple effect in your personal life.
A ripple effect.
Well, yeah. When you are performing at that high level, It shifts your relationship with what you earn and what you spend. Because you are clearing off that desk and making room for Uranus's sudden career opportunities on the 8th, your financial picture is going to absorb some of that shockwave too.
The money shockwave. I was looking forward to this part because the financial forecast this week looks incredibly complicated.
It really is a lot to juggle.
We have urges to spend, sudden losses, and a drive to earn, all happening within a few days of each other. So let's break down the money charts. It seems like the week starts with a massive temptation to just empty the bank account.
It absolutely does. The financial story starts with the same planetary players, from Sunday the Sun making a square to Jupiter. We know this creates tension and a desire for more.
Right, the tight shirt feeling.
Yes, but when we look at how this hits your financial house, it creates a very loud, very demanding urge to spend your money on fun, shiny things.
Oh,
You are going to feel a huge temptation to buy something you absolutely do not need. A new watch, a very expensive dinner, or booking a trip you haven't budgeted for.
like retail therapy on steroids.
Exactly. The tension in your chart makes you feel like buying something will fix the restless feeling in your chest. The strict advice from the astro data is to lock your wallet away. You must save your money instead.
But wait, if we look at the other planets right now, Venus is currently sitting in the sign of Taurus.
Yes, it is.
Now, Venus rules our money and our values, and Taurus is all about pleasure, beautiful things, and physical comfort. So if Venus is in Taurus, shouldn't that just make the urge to buy expensive, beautiful things even stronger?
You would think so, right?
Yeah. Why wouldn't Venus in Taurus push me to buy the nicest, most expensive luxury blanket I can find online?
That is a very sharp observation, but it misunderstands how Taurus operates when it is acting as an anchor. Yes, Venus in Taurus loves comfort and beauty, but Taurus is fundamentally an earth sign. It is slow, it is careful, and above all, it craves security.
Oh, security.
A Taurus placement does not want to risk the bank account to feel good. It wants to know the bank account is full because a full bank account is comfort.
That is a great point. Money in the bank is a very comfortable feeling.
Exactly. So while the Sun and Jupiter are screaming at you to gamble your money on a thrill, Venus in Taurus is sitting quietly, reminding you that watching your savings grow is actually much more satisfying. Venus acts as a steady anchor, protecting your money from your own impulsive thoughts.
So Venus in Taurus is the voice in your head saying, you know it feels better than a new watch, knowing you can pay your rent 3 months in advance.
That is exactly the voice.
It provides the braking system for that Jupiter spending urge.
Right. And you're going to be very grateful for that braking system because the charts show you're going to need every dollar you saved.
Oh no, here comes Wednesday.
Here comes Wednesday. On Wednesday, April 8th, we have that same connection between Mars and the unpredictable planet Uranus. We talked about how this brings a sudden opportunity at work, but in your money house, a sudden disruption almost always means an unexpected bill.
Ouch. Nobody likes to hear that.
It's not a fun transit at all. This is a sudden money surprise. It acts like a trapdoor opening right into your budget.
A trapdoor?
Yeah, it could be your car breaking down, a sudden repair needed in your home, a medical fee, or a tax bill you completely forgot about. It hits fast, and it demands to be paid.
That perfectly explains the warning from Sunday. If you listened to the Sun and Jupiter square and went on a huge shopping spree on Monday, by Wednesday, you would be staring at this sudden bill with an empty bank account.
You would be in full panic mode.
Total panic. But because you listened to Venus in Taurus and held on to your cash, you can actually pay the surprise bill. I mean, it is still annoying, but it is not a disaster. It is just an errand you have to run.
That is exactly how the transits protect you, if you understand them. You turn a crisis into an errand. But the story of your money does not end with paying the bill.
There is more.
There is more, because the very next day, Thursday, April 9, Mars enters Aries. We have established this brings a blast of fresh, fiery power. In your financial chart, this does not mean you suddenly win the lottery.
Darn.
I know, right? It actually means a fire gets lit under your ambition. You will feel a very aggressive drive to find new ways to earn extra cash. Paying that surprise bill on Wednesday is going to make you mad.
I would be fuming.
Right. And on Thursday, you are going to use that anger as fuel. You will not just be thinking about replacing the money you lost, you will be thinking about your long-term savings goals. You are going to be highly motivated to start a side business, demand a raise, or create a brand new stream of income.
Okay, I want to unpack this specific chain of events because it is fascinating. You start the week wanting to buy a toy, then you get hit with a bill that forces you to be an adult. And the reaction to that bill is not defeat, it is actually a fiery drive to work harder and make more money.
It is a total shift.
It is a complete transformation of your financial mindset in 4 days. But let's go back to the hardest part of this chain, ignoring the urge to spend money on Monday.
That is the tricky part.
We know Venus and Taurus wants comfort, but it wants secure comfort. What is a practical, physical way for our listener to satisfy that Taurus need for pleasure early in the week without spending a single dollar? How do you trick the brain into feeling rich without opening the wallet?
Well, you do not trick the brain. You actually give the body what it is asking for. The urge to go on a shopping spree is just your mind confusing emotional discomfort with a lack of physical objects.
Oh, wow. That is deep.
To satisfy Venus in Taurus without spending money, you have to connect deeply with your physical senses using what you already own. You take the time to cook a complex, slow meal at home using ingredients in your pantry.
Okay, so slow, nice meal.
Yes, you focus on the smell, the taste, the heat. You take an hour-long bath. You play music that makes your chest feel calm. You stretch out on your floor and just breathe.
Treating yourself, but for free.
Exactly. By giving your body intense, free physical comfort, you soothe the nervous system. The Taurus energy feels fed, the Jupiter urge to expand dissolves, and your bank account stays completely safe for when Uranus brings the bill on Wednesday.
I love that. You trade financial spending for sensory spending. You just spend time on your senses. And, when you stop looking for thrills in your wallet, you often find that the deepest comfort actually comes from the people around you.
Very true.
Which naturally connects to what is happening in the relationship charts this week. We are looking at a very interesting progression in love and romance.
The romantic charts are extremely clear, and they follow a beautiful path from quiet stability to loud passion. The week starts on Sunday, April 5, with the planet Venus making a strong connection to the North Node.
The North Node. Remind me what that is.
Now, the North Node is not a planet. It is a mathematical point in the chart that points toward your destiny, your future path, and the lessons you are meant to learn.
Okay, your destiny.
When Venus, the planet of affection and bonds, links to this point of destiny, it creates a deeply grounding effect on your heart. It removes the desire for messy, dramatic love. Instead, it brings a craving for stable energy. You want to build strong bonds with people who make sense for your long-term future.
So if I am single, what does this actually look like in my life? Does it mean I meet my soulmate on Sunday while buying coffee?
It is not about a movie scene meeting. If you are single, this transit means you are suddenly repelled by people who play games.
Oh, no time for games.
Right. You will not be interested in the mysterious stranger who takes 3 days to text back. You will be drawn to someone who is clear, honest, and simply makes you feel safe. You want a peaceful harbor. You might notice a coworker or a friend in a new light, specifically because they are reliable.
And what if I am already in a relationship?
If you are already in a relationship, this transit makes you want to sit on the couch with your partner and talk about your plans for 5 years from now. You want to feel the foundation of the relationship under your feet.
A peaceful harbor. That is a great way to put it. You are laying down a very solid floor. But we know this week does not stay quiet. On Thursday, April 9, Mars moves into Aries.
And here comes the fire.
We have talked about how this creates fresh power in your career and your money, but in your love life. Mars in Aries is pure heat. The peaceful harbor suddenly gets a lot of waves.
It gets incredibly dynamic. When Mars enters Aries in your romance chart, your passion wakes up in a sudden, aggressive way. This transit translates directly into bravery. Yes. The safety you build early in the week gives you the courage to take a massive risk on Thursday. If you have been hiding your feelings for someone, this is the day the pressure becomes too much. You will feel an almost physical need to look them in the eye and tell them exactly how you feel. You will not want to wait anymore.
Okay, I have to stop you because I am thinking about our listener who might be naturally very shy. Some people are terrified of confrontation, even good confrontation, like confessing a crush.
That is very common.
If I am someone who usually avoids making the first move at all costs, is this transit really going to force me to speak up? Or will I just feel anxious about it and still stay quiet?
If you are naturally shy, Mars in Aries is actually going to surprise you because the mechanism of this energy bypasses your usual filters. You will not sit in your room and carefully plan out a romantic speech. That is too slow for Aries.
So what happens instead?
What happens is the energy builds up in your chest, and you might be having a totally normal conversation about lunch or a work project, and suddenly the words just fall out of your mouth.
Oh my gosh.
You find yourself blurting out how you feel before your brain even has time to stop you. The bravery comes from a deep, undeniable drive to just be honest, and the charts say you should trust that impulse.
Trust the blurting out.
Yes, trust it. Because you laid down that safe foundation on Sunday with Venus in the North Node, taking a bold risk on Thursday is highly supported. The ground is safe to land on.
That is wild. So even the shyest person might just accidentally confess their love because the energy is pushing them so hard. And if they take that leap on Thursday, it looks like it pays off in a big way by the end of the week. Let's look at what happens on Monday, April 13th. I know it is technically just past our main week, but the energy clearly builds toward it.
Yes, the momentum carries right into the 13th. On that day, Venus makes a very lucky, smooth link to Jupiter. We talked about how the Sun and Jupiter cause stress early in the week, but when Venus links to Jupiter, it is pure joy.
Oh, that is a nice change.
It is. Jupiter expands whatever it touches, and here it is expanding affection, harmony, and luck. This transit brings a massive wave of good luck to any dates or social plans. More importantly, it is the absolute best time to make special, concrete plans for the future with a person you care about.
Oh, wow.
If you were brave on Thursday, by 13th, you are sitting together, laughing, and planning a trip.
I really love the way the sequence flows. If I look at the whole picture, it reminds me of starting a car on a cold morning.
How so?
On Sunday, Venus and the North Node are you turning the key halfway, checking the battery, making sure the engine is stable and the doors are locked. You are just making sure the machine is safe. Then, on Thursday, Mars in Aries is you slamming your foot on the gas pedal. The engine roars to life.
I like that analogy.
Right. And by the 13th, with Venus and Jupiter, you are cruising down the highway with the windows down, listening to your favorite song.
Yeah.
The progression is flawless.
It is a very powerful progression.
Yeah.
But I want to bring our attention to the physical reality of all this.
Oh, right. The body.
Carrying around that much emotional heat, slamming your foot on the gas in your career, dealing with the stress of an unexpected bill, and being aggressively brave in your love life that requires a massive amount of physical energy. Your physical body is absorbing all these planetary shocks. This is why we have to examine the health and wellness charts carefully.
Yes, the physical toll. Because the mind might be excited, but the body has to actually carry you through the week. And it looks like the week starts with a very physical itch.
It does. On Sunday, April 5, the moon moves into the sign of Sagittarius. Sagittarius is a fire sign, but unlike Aries, which is focused on a target, Sagittarius is focused on the horizon.
It wants to explore.
Exactly. It loves open spaces, movement, and freedom. When the moon filters your feelings through this sign, you're going to feel a strong, restless need in your muscles to get outside. You will not be able to sit still in a dark room. Your body will demand fresh air, a long walk, or some kind of expansive movement.
That makes sense, especially with that Sun and Jupiter tension we talked about earlier. You are feeling restless in your life, so your body wants to physically walk away from the house. A long hike on Sunday sounds like the perfect remedy.
Absolutely.
But we have to talk about Thursday, April 9, because you gave a very specific warning about Mars entering Aries when it comes to physical health.
I cannot stress this warning enough. We know Mars in Aries brings fresh power and bravery to your work and your love life. But in the house of your physical health, this placement is notoriously tricky.
Why is it tricky?
Well, Mars rules cuts, burns, and fast movements. Aries rules the head and acts impulsively. When you combine them, this energy makes your mind move infinitely faster than your physical limbs can keep up. You will feel so fired up that you will rush through your physical space.
So this is the day you stub your toe on the coffee table because you are walking too fast while looking at your phone.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Or you try to lift a box that is too heavy because you are too impatient to ask for help. Or you push yourself way too hard at the gym and pull a muscle. It is a prime window for silly, entirely preventable physical accidents caused by rushing.
So what should we do?
The explicit advice from the astro charts is to intentionally, forcefully slow your body down on Thursday. Do not do high-intensity workouts. Instead, the charts suggest engaging in quiet, deliberate stretching.
Okay, hold on. I have to call out the massive contradiction here.
Okay, let's hear it.
You are telling our listener that on Thursday, they have all this fresh, blazing power. They're supposed to be solving the hardest problems at work. They are fueled by anger to start a new business. They are suddenly brave enough to declare their love out loud. But physically, their body is supposed to be sitting quietly on a yoga mat stretching.
That is the recommendation, yeah.
How on earth does that work? If I have a blazing fire of energy inside me, sitting still and stretching sounds like torture. How can I burn off that Mars energy safely if I am not allowed to go for a hard run or lift heavy weights?
The contradiction is exactly why people get hurt during this transit. They feel the fire and assume they need to run fast to burn it. But the mechanism of Mars in Aries doesn't demand speed, it demands effort.
Oh, effort, not speed.
Right. If you try to burn the energy with speed on Thursday, you will trip and hurt yourself. The way you burn the energy safely is by substituting speed with intense, slow focus. Quiet stretching does not mean relaxing.
That is true. Holding a stretch is hard.
Exactly. Have you ever tried to hold a difficult balance pose for 2 solid minutes? Or tried to stretch a tight muscle with perfect millimeter-exact form? It requires an agonizing amount of effort and focus. Your muscles will literally shake from the exertion.
So you are still working hard.
Very hard. But because it is slow and controlled, your mind is forced to sync up with your physical body. You exhaust the physical energy through tension and control, completely avoiding the risk of a fast, clumsy injury.
Oh, that is brilliant. You trade momentum for tension, you still exhaust the muscle, you still burn the fire, but you remove the danger of moving too fast. You force your racing mind to pay attention to exactly what your knee is doing. That is a great strategy.
And you will need to burn that energy safely because the very next day, Friday, April 10th, the last quarter moon arrives.
Well, the let-go phase again?
Right. Just as this moon phase asks you to throw away old projects at work, in your health chart, it acts as a loud alarm clock telling you to stop. It is a time for the body to heal. You must take a physical break and just let your nervous system recover from the rush of the week.
Rest is mandatory on Friday, and it looks like you are really going to feel the crash by Monday, April 13th.
The crash is inevitable based on the charts. On the 13th, the fiery planet Mars finally moves forward and makes a direct connection with Neptune.
What does Neptune do?
Neptune is the planet of the deep ocean, mist, fog, and sleep. When the blazing, aggressive engine of Mars drives straight into the deep, foggy waters of Neptune, the fire goes out. The energy simply dissolves.
Just fizzles out.
Completely. You are going to feel a profound, heavy, physical exhaustion on this day. It is not an illness, it is just your battery hitting zero. You will need deep, uninterrupted rest that night. Letting yourself sleep and surrendering to that Neptune fog is what will clear your mind and reset your system for the next cycle.
So you fight the battles all week, and then you just collapse into a deep sleep by the end.
No.
Honestly, managing all of this, the urge to spend, the sudden bills, the career disruptions, the romantic bravery, and trying not to stub your toe while doing it, it is a heavy load to carry alone.
It is a lot for one person.
And the truth is, the people you surround yourself with can either make this week much easier or completely impossible. Having the right friend around can help you burn that energy safely, while the wrong person is just going to light the fuse on your frustration. So let's open up the astrological toolkit. We need to look at the exact tools, numbers, and people that will help our listeners survive this roller coaster.
Knowing what elements support your specific chart during these transits is like having a cheat code for the week. Let's start with the physical tools. The charts indicate your color of the week is black. The exact hex code, if you want to be precise, is hashtag 000000. True, deep black.
I like that. But why black? Usually people think of bright colors for energy.
Because of the physics of the color itself.
Mhm.
Black absorbs all light and all energy. When you are dealing with the Sun squaring Jupiter, Uranus bringing sudden shocks, and Mars firing off in Aries, there is too much erratic energy flying around you.
So it grounds you.
Yes. Wearing black acts as a physical sponge. It grounds you. It pulls the chaotic energy in and neutralizes it, keeping you stable and rooted in your physical space when everything else feels fast.
Protective shield. I love it. Wear a solid black shirt on Thursday to handle the Mars energy. What about numbers?
Your lucky numbers for the week are deeply tied to the rhythms of your chart. They are 8, 13, 21, 28, 34, and 40. When you see these numbers naturally appear, maybe as a time on a clock, a total on a receipt, or a seat number, it is a small signal from the transits that you are aligned with the right path in that moment.
A little link from the universe.
Exactly. And we have your power dates, which we have heavily focused on Wednesday, April 8th and Thursday, April 9th. These are the days where the potential for major shifts is the highest.
Okay, so we have our black shirt, our numbers, and we are circling Wednesday and Thursday on the calendar. Now we get to the most important part. Who is the absolute best person to have standing next to us while we navigate those 2 power days?
When you analyze the elemental blending of the current charts, your absolute best match for this week is someone born under the sign of Sagittarius.
Sagittarius?
Yes. The specific planetary positions right now mean your energies click together like gears in a clock, but it is especially potent on Thursday, April 9.
Why Thursday specifically?
Because of Mars entering Aries. Aries is a fire sign, and Sagittarius is also a fire sign. When Mars brings you that fresh, aggressive power and excitement, a Sagittarius friend is naturally built to handle it. They won't be overwhelmed by your intensity, they will mirror it.
Oh, that sounds so fun.
It is. You will both share a sudden, strong desire to start wild, fun projects together. But what makes this connection so special this week is the depth of the understanding. The charts show a powerful mental link. You will find that you can sit with the Sagittarius and completely understand their mood, their thoughts, and their reactions without either of you speaking out loud. Your minds will operate on the exact same frequency.
I know exactly what that feels like. It is like having a secret, invisible language with someone. You are in a crowded room, something slightly annoying happens, and you just catch your friend's eye across the table.
Yes, the eye contact.
Right. You don't make a face, you don't say a word, but you both know exactly what the other person is thinking. It is the most relaxing feeling in the world because you don't have to explain yourself.
That is the perfect description of the transit. You do not have to explain yourself. And when we reach that lucky Venus and Jupiter connection later on the 13th, spending time with a Sagittarius will bring out the absolute best, most joyful parts of your personality. They are the perfect anchor for your fire this week.
Which means we have to talk about the opposite end of the spectrum. If Sagittarius is the friend we want across the table, who is the person we desperately want to avoid this week? Who is going to cause the most friction?
The astrological data points clearly to the sign of Capricorn as your worst match for this week.
Capricorn.
Okay. Now, it is important to distinguish between the energy of Capricorn and a person who is a Capricorn. We know the moon moves into the sign of Capricorn on Wednesday, and that helps you focus on work. That is an internal energy. But dealing with an external person whose core identity is Capricorn is going to be incredibly frustrating.
Where does that friction come from?
It traces all the way back to the tension we saw on Sunday between the Sun and Jupiter. That square aspect misaligns your values from theirs. You will find that your goals for the week are moving in completely opposite directions.
How so?
Well, what you think is a massive, urgent priority, the Capricorn will view as foolish and impractical. And what the Capricorn thinks is an urgent priority, you will find incredibly boring and restrictive. Because your foundational goals are mismatched, communication breaks down instantly.
So it is just a natural clash of priorities, but if the tension starts on Sunday, does it get worse as the week goes on?
Yes, it builds up. Every interaction adds a little more annoyance. The charts show that when the last quarter moon arrives on Friday, April 10, this tough, irritating energy reaches its peak.
The day we are supposed to be shedding weight.
Exactly. Because the last quarter moon makes everyone feel like shedding weight, your patience will be entirely gone. You are highly likely to find yourself in a deeply silly, totally unnecessary argument with a Capricorn over something incredibly small.
Like what?
It could be about how a spreadsheet is formatted or who left a coffee cup on the counter, but the argument will feel massive because it is actually about a week's worth of mismatched goals. The clear advice is to maintain a very polite, careful distance.
A silly argument over a spreadsheet. That is the kind of stress that drains your energy and gives you nothing back. But here is the massive problem with this advice.
That is that.
We established that Wednesday is the day the moon is in Capricorn, which makes it the absolute best day to focus on your serious career goals. What happens if our listener has a boss or a major client who is a Capricorn? You cannot just avoid your boss on the most important work day of the week. How does our listener maintain a polite distance at the office without ruining their chance to handle that sudden Uranus work opportunity?
That is the reality of daily life, isn't it? You cannot always avoid the friction. If you are forced to work directly with a Capricorn this week, the strategy is to completely remove all emotion and vision from your communication.
Remove emotion. Okay.
Remember, the friction comes from mismatched goals. So do not try to explain your big ideas to them. Do not try to bond with them. Do not ask them how their weekend was. Keep every single interaction strictly to the cold, hard facts.
So you become a robot.
Essentially, yes. To maintain that polite distance professionally, you heavily rely on written communication. Use email instead of walking over to their desk for a meeting. If he asks for a document, attach the document, write, "Here's the file," and press send. Do not add paragraphs of context.
Oh, just blunt.
Yes. By keeping the connection brief, flat, and focused purely on the immediate task, you starve the friction of oxygen. You prevent the silly argument from ever starting, which protects your energy so you can actually get your own work done.
Be brief, be flat, and use email. That is incredibly practical advice. You put on your black shirt to absorb the chaos, you text your Sagittarius friend to complain using your secret language, and you just send one-sentence emails to the Capricorn boss. That is how you survive the week.
It is a complete strategy based directly on the mechanics of the planetary movements. The charts show you the weather, but you have to decide what clothes to wear.
Exactly. And we have given you quite the wardrobe today. We have covered an enormous amount of ground, so let's pull all these threads together to make sure you have the clear picture.
A quick recap is definitely needed.
This week is a masterclass in timing. You have to ignore the massive urge to waste your money and overpromise at work on Monday. You have to wait for Wednesday to plan your attack and handle the sudden disruption that Uranus brings.
Right.
Then you take that blazing fresh power from Mars on Thursday and you aim it exactly where it needs to go, whether that is finding a new way to make money or finally being brave enough to tell someone how you feel about them. Just remember, when you have that much fire in your system, do not rush physically. Slow down. Stretch carefully so you don't trip over your own feet. And finally, use Friday to throw away all the old projects and bad habits that are weighing you down.
That perfectly captures the sequence. If you follow that flow, you avoid the traps and capture the opportunities. But before we finish, I want to direct your attention back to one specific moment we discussed, because I want to leave you with a final thought to mull over.
Oh, I love these.
We spent a lot of time talking about that sudden, unexpected bill that hits around Wednesday. We called it a trapdoor under your budget. But I want you to look at the chain reaction it causes.
The chain reaction where it makes you mad and then makes you want to earn more money.
Exactly. What if we look at that sudden bill, not as a punishment, but as a mechanism? What if the universe knows that you have been too comfortable? If you never got hit with that unexpected expense on Wednesday, you might have just coasted through Thursday.
You would have stayed comfortable.
Right. You would have never felt the anger, and you would have never used the fiery Mars energy to push yourself to find a brand new stream of income.
Yeah.
Sometimes the astrological charts send us a sudden obstacle strictly for the purpose of waking up our ambition. The obstacle is not there to stop you. It is there to startle you into moving faster. So when that surprise hits your bank account this week, don't just get upset. Ask yourself, what larger goal is this frustration pushing me to finally achieve?
Oh, that completely flips the script. The obstacle is actually an alarm clock waking up your ambition. It forces you to stop being lazy and actually use the Mars energy to build something better. That is a brilliant way to look at a frustrating situation.
It changes everything.
It really does. Thank you so much for breaking down all the deep mechanics of these astrological charts for us today. It really gives us a clear map to follow.
It was my absolute pleasure.
And a huge thank you to you, our listener, for spending your time with us today and listening to this episode on Horoscope TV. We love digging into these planetary gears and exploring these weekly forecasts with you. Please remember to hit that subscribe button right now so you get notified the very moment the next forecast is available. You will not want to miss what the planets are doing next. Take care of yourselves, wear your black shirts, stretch slowly, and we will see you next time.